these together, and you can see that the in-text citations are at the end of the sentence, not at the start. Then, importantly, the last sentence of the paragraph, it's kind of evaluation. So is there a limitation in the studies above? Okay, and we'll talk about this a little bit more when we get to some practice writing. But in the annotated bibliography, you looked for limitations in one article. Sometimes you said maybe there is potential bias, or maybe there was no control group in the studies. Maybe these studies focused only on benefits. Okay, so even though we have all these studies that have discussed benefits, were they very reliable and objective studies, or did they not give students the chance to mention any negatives? So in that last sentence of your section, you can sum up the literature and you can evaluate it a little bit. Is there anything missing from the studies? Are they, for example, are all those studies from English-speaking countries, or are all those studies potentially biased because they focus only on positives? Okay, so that's where you'll be exercising some critical thinking. And please have a different evaluative sentence for each paragraph. Don't have the same, because really the point here is for you to think about the studies. Yes, they have, for example, maybe all mentioned positives, but were those studies objective? Or were those studies all from one particular discipline? Or were they from a range of disciplines? So you can say that that's extremely reliable. The above studies highlight that will benefits are for students across all disciplines. So a comment from you at the end of a section about the literature. So we have a kind of topic sentence. We have in the middle some linking sentences with in-text citations at the end of the sentences. And finally, we have some evaluation about all of the literature. Okay, same thing, everyone. Little bit of revision while it's fresh in your mind. So that's for the intro. I'm going to assume that everyone took some notes about that. What about body section of the lit review, in other words? We know it's about 225 words. We know we have 4 of these. Okay, so let me know the structure of a section, a paragraph in the literature review, like we just showed there. Just a few minutes for that. Over to you. Keep going. Any extra details? What about in the middle? What about the reference? What about the language as well? Keep going, everyone. All right, everyone, pretty much there, aren't we? So we have a topic sentence, and your topic sentence, well done, should have your subheading in it. So let's say your main heading could be benefits of will. Your subheading might be benefits for students. The topic sentence should have the subheading in it. So, for example, it might go, there are a range of benefits for students from participating in will according to the literature. Okay, so I should have a phrase like in the literature, in the studies, cited by, in your topic sentence. Well done. Then in the middle of, well, we don't need 7, but we do need at least 3 or 4 in each paragraph. Okay. Don't forget that you can't always use every single article in each paragraph. Some articles look at positive, some look at negative, some look at both, some look at certain skills, some are industry views. So we can't always use every article in each paragraph, but at least 3 or 4. Well done. We do have in-text citations of 3 or 4 different studies, and the citations are normally at the end of the sentence. And we link between the sources with phrases like in addition, in another study, related to this, those kind of phrases. All right, everyone, well done. Let's turn now to the conclusion. Okay, so don't forget we have 4 paragraphs, okay, of the literature review. And then in the conclusion, we can see that there is no citation here. So there are no in-text citations in the conclusion, none at all. And really, there are only 2 things you need to do in the conclusion. The first thing is to summarize what your main headings and subheadings were. Okay, so you could, this one says while it is apparent. So you might have while it is apparent that there are many benefits to will, including blah and blah. Okay, so you are mentioning your main headings and subheadings again here. Okay, and then the second thing you need to do in your conclusion is write about if there should be more research into this field and what kind of research it should be. Okay, so for example, should there be more research from the industry view? Should there be more research about will that is more up to date, considering our work environments have changed radically since COVID? A lot of people are working from home. What about work integrated learning? Maybe there should be even more research, or maybe you need research from different disciplines because you've observed that there are limitations and you've mentioned those in each paragraph. Okay, so 2 things in the conclusion. Remind the reader what your main headings and subheadings were, and then what kind of research about will should occur in the future. Just 2 things there. And then reference list 7, only 7 references. Okay, so you are only referencing your 7 articles. We are not referencing the articles those 7 articles referred to. So just a reference list of 7 articles. Of course, they are all going to be up to date. They're going to be recent. It's in alphabetical order. Okay, and yeah, it should be accurate as well. So if you got a few errors in your ABs for the referencing, go back and look at them. Note that it's only the first word of the title which is in capitals. It's every word of the journal name that's in italics and in capitals, every word in italics and every word in capitals except and in on. Volume and number. The volume is in italics, the number is not. Pages, DOI. Okay, we did show you how to generate those references using Google Scholar. So you can use Google Scholar and then make sure it's correct. So that is what we are looking for in a literature review. Okay, a lot of the work in a literature review is your thinking or kind of juggling ideas about the topic. Okay, don't forget the whole point of the literature review, and I'm just quickly grabbing our research questions. The whole point of the literature review is that you are going to answer those research questions. As you know, there are 3, and by the end of your literature review, I want to know some answers to them. I'm just pasting them here. I'll just go to another whiteboard. So at the end of your literature review, I expect answers to the 3 research questions. How do different stakeholders perceive the benefits of will? Don't forget, we said there are 3 different stakeholders. We've said students, industry, and universities. Maybe the benefits for universities, maybe every time we read about that, it's always the same benefit, just that if they organize will well, then students are more employable, and that is positive for the university's reputation. If you always read that same thing about universities and reputation, and that is the only real benefit, you don't need to mention it for very long, maybe just one sentence at the end of another section. It doesn't need a whole section if it's not the most important thing in the literature. Okay, so you need to think critically about how you are organizing the information. So we have 3 different stakeholders. Then we have the question about work readiness, and then this one, the gap. Okay, don't forget these 2 are similar but different. Work readiness, that's not something that is taught at uni. Things like feeling more confident or communicating better or organizing your time better or feeling more professional and more confident. Those work readiness attributes are not taught at uni. But this one is really the link. The last question refers to the link between higher ed and industry. For example, if you are studying nursing, you might be practicing giving needles to a piece of fruit, an orange or a lemon or an apple or something. And you might be practicing your nursing skills on a pretend patient. But in will, you will be in a real hospital, and it will be linking what you learned at uni and your work life. So those 2 questions are similar but different. So at the end of the literature review, we expect some answers on all of those 3 questions. All right, I know we have done this task a few times. I would like to do it just once more. Hopefully it's going to be extremely fast. That's my hope. So here it is, and I'm sure you know what I'm about to ask you. I'm interested in your main headings and subheadings. Really, everyone should have them by now. So I'd love to hear from you. I've taken photos of the last few weeks. We've brainstormed this a lot, and there are so many different ways to structure your literature review, as long as by the end you have commented on each of those 3 questions. Okay, so again, over to you, and then we're going to practice doing a little bit of writing about one main heading or one topic. We started that last week, but we didn't really get to linking different studies. So over to you, students, once more. What are some possible main headings and subheadings? I'll give you 3 minutes. Come on, everyone. This should be jumping off your fingertips by now. Hopefully, you have a lot of ideas here. 3 minutes, everyone. Go. All right, everyone, it's a great start here. Keep going as I'm talking to you about your ideas. So Yeah, don't forget any headings or subheadings, sorry, especially the subheadings we come up with, they are going to be the paragraphs. So we need to make sure we have seen that mentioned in at least 3 different readings, 3 or 4. I'm really glad to see this one here with university mentioned, because if I have this arrangement here, I don't see universities mentioned. I have benefits for students and benefits for industry. What about universities? So if we are going with this kind of arrangement here, we might, instead of saying industry, we might call them will providers, yeah? Because with providers, we can include industry and university. So that could be a solution there to make sure we do include universities. Of course, we only have 2 paragraphs there, 2 subheadings. So we need to get a bit creative or clever in what you're going to call them. Okay, so nice. I'm glad we've got this. We can't have benefits and challenges, because it seems like we're going to be repeating information, aren't we? Certainly, you can have the different impacts of will, and in some ways, that really is a challenge of will. So, I really like this idea. You know, I mean, again, as I've said all along, there's so many different ways to arrange your information, your headings and subheadings. There is no correct answer. Okay, so every week when we're brainstorming this here online and also on campus, students come up with completely different ideas. So that's fantastic. Okay, different impacts of will, great. We can't have benefits and challenges and benefits here. So I like this, benefits for students, then maybe benefits for everyone else or providers, including unis and industry. That works. This one's fantastic as well, the different impacts of will. And if we are thinking about different impacts of will, we know that we have, you know, different impacts on different students, don't we? Can anyone think of any articles that would go in this kind of subheading? The subheading would be different impacts on different students. I can think of 2 of the 4 we gave you that would fit perfectly in there. Can anyone think of an article? Different impacts on different students. Which articles that we gave you would fit well in this one? Come on, everyone. Time to put your critical thinking hats on here. Do any of the articles mention that students keep going? Not, I don't know if the green does. I'm not sure I would go with the green. Yes, nice, Meiji. I think the orange goes well there because it says it's about STEM, it looks at gender, and it looks at the fact that female and male students benefit differently from will. They both benefit, but in different ways. There's one other article that we've given you, not orange, not green. Come on, everyone. You've got 50-50 nearly chance. So other than the orange or green, is there another article that we gave you that looks at different impacts on different students? No? Yay, Albino, well done. Nice collaboration there, everyone. Good, the non-vocational students. So in the yellow article, academics were interviewed and they said that will was difficult to set up for students studying non-vocational degrees like criminology, like psychology, because there are so many different potential workplaces. Which one do they send students to? They don't want to restrict students' idea of the workplace. They want to enrich or increase it. So, different impacts on different students, that seems to be a fantastic subheading. Here's a subheading, a student thought about just yesterday on campus. He said, what about different types of will? Because we had the discussion, actually, what is will? We know it's work integrated learning, but every of the 4 articles we gave you describe it completely differently. Okay, so one article talks about e-will, which is embedded will, which is embedded in the degree. It goes over 3 years. One article talks about placements. Another one talks about work experience. So it would be, I think, a really useful, interesting, relevant subheading, different types of will. If there are different types of will and every study uses a different type, it's very hard to compare, isn't it? It's hard to compare which studies were more effective or less effective if they don't define or describe will, or will is thought of in a different way every time. So that can make it difficult when you are trying to link studies together and there's no one definition. So, okay, we've got if I think about, for example, if we went with this kind of scenario, benefits to students, benefits to providers, different impacts of will. Then we have here different impacts on different students, different types of will. I think we can answer all questions. Benefits to all stakeholders, plus work readiness, plus employability. So the work readiness and employability, could write about some of it here, and you could also write about it here in different types of will. We don't want you to repeat the same information. So if you've already cited one point, like that students develop their communication skills, don't use it again. Okay, use different information to build on or add to your argument. Okay, if we're talking about the different impacts of will, so maybe a helpful section could also be the future of will. Okay, so what will will look like in future? Many articles make suggestions about improving will, and often it's the last few sentences of the articles, and they mention what should happen in future. Okay, how should will be changed? How can it be improved? That would be a great subheading. Another one that students were discussing this week was something like the importance of relationships. Okay, so within the different impacts of will, you know, that one is important because that could have an impact on whether it is successful or not. Right, so you can see here many different ideas, different ways to divide the literature. And the main thing to keep in mind is that you are addressing the 3 research questions. So yeah, we can write about challenges, and let's be really specific about them. And maybe some of the challenges were when the relationships were not working well, like relationships between university and industry. They weren't communicating what they wanted from each other. I really like this idea about graduates because if we're discussing students in will, you can be discussing students who are at university taking part in will, but what about new graduates as well? Okay, because maybe those who got jobs or succeed in jobs previously participated in will. Okay, so there's so many different ideas there. Hopefully this is getting you thinking about all of the articles you have. All right, everyone, what I would like to do right now is to focus on a section of a literature review. We started to do that last week, but we didn't really get to linking articles together. So just to remind you, in a section of a literature review, we just looked at that example in detail. So we expect, you know, that kind of thing. Topic sentence, 3 or 4 citations linked with that linking language, and a concluding sentence. We're not going to write a whole section of a literature review right now, but I do want you to practice the process of what you need to do to construct those paragraphs. So I'll just show you what we were doing last week in OneNote. Hopefully this rings a bell. So last week we were in OneNote and we were doing this kind of similar task. Okay, so you'll remember in different groups, in 4 groups, and we were trying to link studies together. Group 1 did really well, but there was only 1 in-text citation. Okay, group 2 did well, again, only 1 in-text citation. Group 3, we're getting there, well done, but not enough detail in your citations. And group 4, yeah, again, 1 in-text citation. So the job to do today, let's call this again, yeah, section of a literature review. Okay, what I would like everyone to do in your groups, and again, you know, the point of tutorials, everyone, is to be practicing doing what you need to do for the literature review. So this process of going to the articles, finding the information, paraphrasing and putting a citation, it's going to help you writing your own literature review. So this is what I would like you to think of. A main heading, write it. Subheading, write it. Topic sentence. And I want 3 different ideas from different studies linked together with in-text citations. Okay, so this is the same process you'll be going through when you are writing your own literature review. Okay, so last time, some groups were working well and others very slowly. Question, how many people would you like in your group? Would you like larger or smaller groups, everyone? Let me know in the chat. Let's do a little poll just to check everyone is still awake. Okay. Okay. So yes, no, everyone, I'd like a larger group. A smaller group's going to be 3 of you. Larger group's going to be more. Okay, I'm happy to do this in larger groups. Don't forget, when we come to this assessment task, it is an individual task, yeah? You're doing this by yourself, but just for today, we will do some practice together. We're not going to write a whole section. It will be more like just a few sentences joined together. Okay, so let's go with the overwhelming majority who would like a larger group. All right, so this is what's going to happen. You're going to be in a larger group. It's going to be 5 students. Please do not disappear at this stage. Even if you are a little bit confused or you're not sure what is going on exactly, you'll be able to learn from your peers. If this is really confusing, I'm sitting here, so please message me and just ask me what's happening or if you have any questions, okay? Please don't just disappear. As I said, the tutorial, our goal is that you practice what you need to do and practice learning these skills so that next week and the week after, when you come to writing, you can go back, oh, remember what we did in OneNote? Yep, that's what I'm going to do. All right, everyone, that's the goal. It's about 12. I think maybe in 20 minutes we should, or 25, I'll see what's happening in OneNote. Main heading, subheading, topic sentence, 3 different ideas from 3 of your, let's go with the 4 articles we gave you. So we want 3 different ideas linked together. Okay, that's the job of a literature review. That's the practice we're going to do now. I'll stop sharing OneNote so you'll have some privacy to work in there. Please, use your microphone. Give people in your group a job to do or nominate a job to do. Please use the chat. Yes, please interact with your peers. Again, a little reminder that in a few weeks, your discussion, sorry, your assessment after the literature review is going to be a group discussion. So, I think it's a good time, a good chance to see who you might like to work with. When we go to these groups, who is using their microphone and working? They would be the kind of people I would choose for my group members when we get to that next task. All right, let's do this, everyone. So there's 3 groups. You 5 or 4, please don't disappear. Please hang around for your group members. I'll see what's happening in OneNote and bring us back about 12:30. Okay. Good luck, everyone. And I'm sitting here if you have any questions at all. Hi everyone, just bringing you back from the breakout rooms now. Well done and thank you for sticking around for that task. I'm just going to share what you've been doing there in the groups. Definitely on the way to a literature review section. All right, so don't forget we want main heading and subheadings. I'm just starting down here with group 3. So group 3, is this a main heading or a subheading, benefits of will? It seems like it is a subheading. I'm going to guess group 3. Please tell me if this is correct or not. It seems like the main heading could be something like, is it that right? So that could be your main heading, benefits and challenges of will. Then I would have one paragraph about the benefits. Is this the kind of thing you are thinking here? And then I would move on to a different section down here about the challenges of will. Is that what you were thinking there? Group 3? Okay, cool. So that makes sense. That's fantastic. So main heading, benefits and challenges of will. Great. Benefits of will, and that is for all stakeholders. Challenges of will, likewise for all stakeholders. Logical, excellent. Great. So we've got a fantastic topic sentence for the heading. Great, really well done. Work integrated learning provides benefits not only for students, but for all stakeholders. Excellent. Okay, great. According to Cooperative Work Integrated Learning in Canada, great. And I would also want to include the authors, which is Chopra et al., isn't it? And I think it is 2020. Don't forget, we only want to refer to the 7 articles, not any articles those articles referred to. Okay, so according to Cooperative and Work Integrated Learning in Canada, and because I have according to, I don't need describe. Okay, so I'm going to just delete that for you. Will is it curricular? Combine students' academic courses into a business or practical environment. Okay, nice start. So far, this sounds like a definition. So I might add, will is defined as. Okay, that's fine to start with a definition. That's actually helpful. So let's start with a definition. Will has received a lot of attention. Okay, great. Improving professional practice and building work readiness. Excellent. I'm going to just, great point, well referenced. I think this needs more detail. Great, nice. Well done with the advantages for the university. Excellent, that's very specific. Improving professional practice, building work readiness. Excellent. For example, so I'm wanting some examples here. And as you can see, if we do this, we are going to get more towards our word count. For example, one attribute or one skill enhanced. Okay, so you can see that I wanted a little bit more detail, which is why I've highlighted the red. Great, so you might have another idea here. And then your final sentence, your final evaluative sentence. And maybe your final sentence, something like, it is clear that there are benefits to all stakeholders for will. Okay, so that kind of section would be excellent. Group 3, well done. You've looked at the benefits for all 3 stakeholders. I still feel there could be more detail needed for students, especially, the variation in students, what different students get out of will. So for me, this is a great section, but because we're dealing with all 3 stakeholders at once, which is good, I might need to still give more information about students, okay? So well done. Maybe we then want a special or unique section about how will enhances employability for students. Okay, so that's my thoughts, that it's great, this section, and you would probably need another section about students and employability, because we can see in this paragraph so far we only really have, you know, 1 or 2 sentences about students. Great, but there are a lot more benefits that we can include. Well done, group 3. That would be a great main heading, benefits and challenges of will. We've got the benefits here, we've got the challenges here. Maybe we go on to different students gain different advantages from will, different definitions of will. That's up to you, okay? One other thing to consider is that this definition, while it's really useful and helpful here, I wonder if this could go in the introduction, or if we have a section about the different definitions or descriptions of will, it might go in that section. So we can see that there are different possibilities with how you are going to organize the information and link it together. All right, so very well done here, group 3. That's exactly what we need. That is the process of planning your headings and subheadings. Nice work. Let's just flip there to group 2. No, Elvino, I don't mean that at all. I'm suggesting that your main headings and subheadings are excellent. It works. I just feel you haven't answered the questions enough. It doesn't need to mainly talk about students, but don't forget our 3 literature review questions. I'm just going to paste them in the chat box for you, because I don't feel we have answered all 3. I mean, of course, this is only one section. The research questions, how do different stakeholders perceive the benefits of will? Yes, we are looking at that. And then the challenges, excellent. I don't feel like we address questions 2 and 3 sufficiently. I've pasted them in the chat box. So developing work readiness and bridging the gap. I don't think there's enough information about those 2 questions. So if we had benefits and challenges of will, great. Mention all 3 stakeholders in both, excellent. And then maybe move on to will developing work readiness, or will bridging the gap. Maybe these are headings, or maybe you could have enhanced employability or improvements to will. So we're thinking about what your other main heading and subheading will be. Okay, so yeah, I don't feel we answered those 2 questions enough. Guys, if you are still struggling or not sure with your main headings and subheadings, please email me right away with what you are thinking, just so we can be sure you are going to address all the questions. Okay, so I still feel we're not quite getting to questions 2 and 3. But excellent sections, very well done. And don't forget, this is only one section. Well done. All right, so similarly, group 2 are going for benefits of will among various stakeholder groups, okay? So we're grouping all of them together. You can do that, or maybe you might think, oh, if I mention all stakeholders together at once, I don't really get to say enough about students. So I might have something like main heading is benefits of will is the main heading. That could be the main heading. Then the subheading might be benefits for students. And in this way, I can talk about or write about students a lot. I can write about employability. I can write about improved attributes and traits. And then, you know, that was another way we said you could do it. Benefits of will, main heading, subheading benefits for students, subheading benefits for providers. In this way, I can write more about students because I have a whole paragraph. Okay, again, it's completely up to you. This could work, but I think you would still need a second subheading. Maybe it's how will benefits different students differently, or something like that. Because then we can also deal with some challenges as well as the specific employability benefits. So just some ideas there about dividing your headings and subheadings. Again, I offer you, I'm happy to give feedback on your headings and subheadings. Take a risk, guys, do some brainstorming and send it to me. Okay, don't forget group 2, nice start. We do want the in-text citations. only from your 7 articles. Okay, so we don't want you to go beyond the 7 articles. So don't reference what your articles referenced. Okay, so I'm not sure about bridge stock. Let's stay with the 7 articles there. Okay, good. Yep, nice. Well done. Which the main goal was the advancement. Okay, so maybe this seems to be from one study. Maybe let's change the phrasing, like findings from one study were that students, just paraphrasing here, advanced character traits like self-regulation and communication through will. Okay, citation from the relevant article. Okay, so a little bit of fine-tuning needed there for you, group 2. Make sure you are only referencing from the 7 articles, and yeah, a little bit on the phrasing. Okay, and we'll talk more about the phrasing next week. Oh, well done. Group 1, don't forget your in-text citation. We only want surnames, not first names. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. Martin and Rees. Okay, so that looks better already. Same, I think this one, NG, is it NG et al? I'm not sure this one. Was that Doolan et al? I'm not sure, but we only want the surname, yeah? Same here. I think this one, this study is referred to as Lloyd et al. Okay, so Lloyd, E-T-A-L, means and other authors. So in text, it's only surname and year. So that was the first thing that jumped out to me, just correcting the in-text citations. Okay, that is correct now, Lloyd et al. Hopefully you are happy with that. The in-text citations are looking better now. All right, so the impact and challenges of will. I'm not sure this can be one paragraph. Maybe impact for me seems like benefits. Challenges maybe could be negatives. I don't think we can write about all of this in one paragraph. So maybe we have the impact of will, and then we have the challenges of will. Okay, in different sectors, yep, in different degrees, we can certainly mention that. So it could be that these are your paragraphs. One is about impact, one is about challenges, and the overall main heading could be benefits or impacts and challenges of will. Hey, group 1, I hope you are okay with that, because otherwise I think you are trying to write about too much in one paragraph, only 225 words. So maybe one paragraph is the impact, and then the one after can be about the challenges. Are you guys happy with that, group 1? I think it's going to be a little bit easier. Group 1, are you good with that? Okay, nice. So enhancing employability. This for me needs a citation. Most ideas in a literature review do need an in-text citation. That sentence did. Okay, so nice. Good. Good. Again, put knowledge to use when they graduate. What knowledge and how? So a little bit more detail is needed in that sentence, but it's great information, very relevant. Okay, good, nice. Partnering, excellent. It's partnering and relationships are really important. Okay, so well done. You're doing well here, group 1. We're starting to link things together. I've just divided impact and challenges because I think it is impossible to discuss benefits and challenges and all stakeholders in one paragraph. You really will not have enough words for that. All right, so well done everyone today. Hopefully that's given you some idea about the process of linking the studies together. All groups are well on the way. We just needed to refine those headings slightly to ensure that you can provide enough detail. So again, I offer that if you are not sure about your headings and subheadings, please be brave and email me and I'll give you some feedback, because yeah, it's important to check that you're going to be able to answer the 3 research questions. You're going to be able to give different information in each section and not repeat yourself. All right, everyone, well done. Can you all please finalize your headings and subheadings and start writing one of your sections so that next week I can give you some feedback. Next week is the last week to get feedback on one paragraph. Please, everyone, do that because it's a way to ensure you get the best possible grade. So we only really have next week and then the break week, and then we are back and it is due. So please keep that in mind. Go back to your 7 articles. Think about your headings and subheadings. Email me with article choices or headings and subheadings and any writing. But next week, I'd love to see writing from all of you. All right, everyone, well done today. Well done for sticking around. And hopefully that will remind you of what you need to do to start those sections. Guys, I'm going to say goodbye to you all. We only have we kind of ran over time slightly. A reminder, summary notes for 2 articles you have found in one document due on Monday. That means your research should be done. Please ensure you paraphrase the findings. The findings are the most important part. And that's how we're linking together there in those sections. Yeah, hopefully you see that this job of a literature review, it's a little bit of juggling of ideas, isn't it? So, yes, 3, Merlin, 3 what? I'm not sure what you mean. 2 summary notes are due on Monday. The last one is due when you submit your literature review. That's all right, everyone. Thank you. Well done. I'll say goodbye. Please email me if you are needing feedback on your headings or on your writing. Catherine Elvino, Jackson J, Judith, Levine Li, Huan Cheng, Meiji. Yeah, I will. Merlin, Rakad, Sinman, Yuklun. Yes, if it's a quick response I can do on the weekend, I will. Otherwise, I will respond first thing Monday. Okay, but please just email anytime and I will get back to you as soon as I can. After next week, it's holidays, so I won't be around. So please email me in the next few days and I'd love to see some writing from everyone. Deadline to send it will be 1 week from today, next Thursday. All right, guys, thank you. Well done. I look forward to an email from you, or I look forward to seeing you next week, last week before the break. Well done today, and see you next week, everyone. Thank you, Catherine. Thanks, Meiji. See you next week. Bye, Judith. Thank you, Sinman. Thanks, Levine. Nice characters to see there. Thank you, Elvino, Li Huan Cheng. Thank you very much as well for your contributions. See you next week.